When I was a child, my grandfather once told me a story that had been passed down by our ancestors. It was about two lost children who stumbled upon our family farm on the south coast of England in the late 19th century. The two children, a boy and a girl, were weeping and wandering around the woods nearby to our farm. They couldn't speak words and communicated with strange clicking sounds, but the strangest thing of all was the colour of their skin, which was green. Our ancestors took them into the farmhouse and offered them food and lodging, but for a long time during their stay, they refused to eat anything but insects and leaves from trees. Over the next few weeks, the boy grew sick and weak and became bedbound, whilst the girl grew stronger. The girl, who had also learned to speak a few words, one night pleaded with our ancestors to take the boy into the woods. So in the dead of night, my ancestors put the boy into a wooden wheelbarrow and along with the girl, wheeled him into the woods. Soon after they arrived at a clearing in the trees, a bright light appeared in the sky above them. Then a strange-looking craft descended to the ground, landing just yards away from where they stood. Out of the craft walked a strange-looking creature. It walked towards the boy and picked him up with long, gangly arms. Before the creature turned and headed back to the ship, it paused and looked at my ancestors with large, dark, blinking eyes, then headed back to the craft. The girl chased after them and communicated with the creature in loud clicks. Then the creature entered the craft with the boy, leaving the girl behind, before it descended quickly and quietly into the dark night sky. Over the next few years, the girl's green-coloured skin gradually changed to a pinky white, and she became fluent in English, helping my ancestors on the farm. Then, on her 18th birthday, she left the farmhouse at midnight and made her way to the woods, where from a distance a bright light could be seen to fall and rise in the night sky. My ancestors, whom had grown fond of the girl and looked at her like a daughter, never saw or heard from her ever again. This happened in my early teens back in the 1970s. I was a mischievous kid and hung around with others who would get me into trouble. We would play pranks on people and steal things from the local shops, but my friends also liked to pick on the vulnerable and the elderly. Although I went along with this, I didn't feel comfortable doing it and would often try to avoid these situations. There was an elderly man who lived in our neighbourhood. He was a loner who didn't speak to anyone and didn't appear to have any friends or family. The local kids had nicknamed him Creepy and would often taunt him if they saw him walking in the streets. Rumours had spread over the years that he was some kind of monster who had killed his wife. Then one day, as me and my friends saw him leave his home, one of my friends suggested we break into his house. I quickly made up an excuse and told them I had to go home, but they didn't believe me and physically dragged me along with them. All four of us went round to the back door, where one of my friends smashed the glass, reached in and turned the key. The house looked surprisingly normal, clean and tidy. As we walked round the ground floor, I noticed photographs in frames of the old man with an elderly lady. "That's the wife he murdered," said one of my friends. Whilst rummaging through drawers, we thought we heard a sound coming from the upper floor, so we all crept quietly up the stairs. When we reached the stair landing, the sound was louder, like water running from a shower. We noticed a door slightly ajar from where the sound was coming from. We walked towards it and slowly pushed it open. In the bathtub lay some sort of creature about the size of a human adult. His body was green and reptilian looking, covered in what looked like patches of grey mould. It was just laying there, its eyes closed with the water from the shower head falling on top of it. We all stood in shock, staring at the creature, wondering what the hell it was. We moved closer to get a better look. One of my friends prodded it with his finger, but it still didn't move. We thought it must be dead or dying. Then we heard the floor creak behind us, and we all turned round to see the old man standing at the bathroom door. For a moment we all stared at each other in disbelief. Then the old man began grabbing at us, shouting, "Get away from my wife. Don't you touch her. Get out of my house." We all ran down the stairs and out of the house, as scared as hell. Within weeks, the old man's house was empty and up for sale. During the summer of 1951, a young couple were taking an evening stroll through a public park. As a man walked by them, they noticed that his face changed. For just a quick second, they thought they saw what looked like green reptilian features, then returned to normal again. The couple looked at each other in disbelief, then looked back at the man in question, who was now standing still, looking inquisitively around at the surrounding park and the people in it. At that moment, a dog chasing a ball stopped next to the strange man and began growling and barking at him. The man, unaware that the couple were watching, calmly looked around, then suddenly changed in the blink of an eye into a strange-looking creature, before returning back again, all in the matter of seconds. The dog began to yelp, turned and ran back to its unsuspecting owner. The couple gasped with horror and hurriedly turned to walk away. They soon came across a patrolling policeman and began to point out the strange-looking man, who was hurriedly walking away into the trees. The very next day, there were several reports in local newspapers of eyewitness accounts of strange bright lights appearing in the evening sky and of similar incidents of seeing strange-looking people with reptilian features. If we are to believe the eyewitness accounts from these 3 stories, then the creatures we may or may not believe to exist are already here, living among us.